What's up guys, Hobo88 here, welcome back to iRacing, and it's build week, week 13, and that means new toys for us to play with. And in what seems like the first time in forever, we have a new dirt track to play with today, and that is I-55 Federated Auto Parts Raceway at Pevely. And this is one of my favourite tracks. I love this track, home of the I-55. It's a 1/3 mile high bank track. Very, very fast. In fact, Kyle Larson holds the track record here, I'm pretty sure. He went sub 10 seconds in the World of Outlaws when they came here for the, I think it was for the Ironman 55 in 2020, I think it was. Yeah, very fast track. And almost always puts on really, really good racing, and one that I've been wanting to see come to iRacing for a long time. It was one of the very first tracks that I thought of when I thought, what would I like to see on iRacing? I don't know how it will race here, but it'll certainly be good fun to drive around all the same. So I'm really keen to get out here and check this out. If you've been around this channel for a while, or you've seen my videos before, you'll know how this works. You know the drill. We're going to go check this track out in all different track states, in all different cars. We're going to preview all the dirt cars on the iRacing service here in this video. Down in the description below, you'll find timestamps to all the cars. So if you want to just check out a specific car at this track, you can go down there into the description and find a link to that part of the video. Or sit back, relax, and enjoy here as we go through all of the cars, one after another, here at Pevely at I-55. Alright, so as is standard procedure in these videos, we're going to jump into the Dirt Legend to start things off. We'll try and have a little look around on the infield here actually before we get too carried away, because we like to check out the venue before we head out onto the track. And of course we've got an infield pit area at I-55. Got like a office building or admin building, something like that here in the centre with some portaloos and things like that. That's coned off that entry in there, so that's interesting. And then, of course, in the infield will be where all the crews and all that sort of stuff sit around, and work area and stuff like that. Here's your infield flag stand. Or it might be just a viewing area, actually. On that, I'm not sure where the flag stand is. If it's on the outside or the inside, I might check that out when we get onto the track. We cross, yeah, we can cross that hose or whatever it is across the ground there. So we've got our tow truck and our equipment, bits and pieces here on the infield, and then more just viewing areas. This looks like rubbish bins and stuff like that down here for when people are on the infield. What that is. This is your exit off of the track on the exit of turn 4 on the inside to come onto the infield. And that might be just timing and scoring there. I think that platform on the infield. I feel like the flag stands on the outside, but we'll see. But exit from the infield back onto the track is over here on the backstretch. Let's go out and have a look around here on the track itself. Work our way up through the gears. So we've got 0% track state here for this to start with. Well, this is where they would normally peel off out here. I'm guessing we can't go out here. I think fenced off. This would be the normal exit to the, need to find reverse. The normal exit to the it's on the outside of the track. And then there would be another one of them, the entry from the outside of the track somewhere as well, I would assume. Or maybe they come across there as well. I can't remember. Now, I can't see hardly anything from in this car either. My field of view might be a bit off. I had to do a graphics reconfig with the new build, so all my stuff has been reset. So I think that looks a bit better now. I can see a bit more, but you guys probably can't see a lot. It is a very high bank track, which means visibility will be pretty tough around here. So let's wind ourselves up and get up to speed. Actually have a bit of a feel for this track. So we're just running the baseline baseline setup. Something else that's reset is I've now got a steering wheel with hands on screen, which I haven't had for a long time. That's a little bit distracting. Not actually getting up into 5th gear here. Got upwards of, I think it's like 19, 20 degrees of banking in the corners. So it is a really, really steep bank track. And it's something like 10 degrees just on the straights, the banking here. And it almost feels like you dip down, especially on the front stretch there. It's like you drive down off the banking, down into like a dip down the straight, and then back up the hill into the corners. More pronounced here on the front straight than the back. I absolutely adore this track in real life to watch racing here. It's an excellent track to watch racing at. It always puts on good racing. There's usually a high and a low line as well around here. Midget racing is fantastic at this track in real life, and so is sprint cars. Interesting that was so dodgy around the very bottom there, but we were still able to go quicker in that sector. It's just fun. I was sure that this track would be enjoyable. And we probably better cut our laps out there here in the Legend and go check out the replay. We've got a heap of cars to get through in this video, so I don't want to spend too long in each car, just a quick little feel for it. That's really good fun. That's a very tight very tight gap to get through there off of the track. Alright, well that's our first look here in the Legend. We will be coming back next to check it out again in the street stock. And we'll see how it fares around this track. Alright guys, time to head out now in the street stock. We've moved the time of day up to midday now. We were in the morning, I don't think I mentioned that before. We're in the morning for the first bit, so it's now midday. And I've set the track state to 15%. It's one of my favourite cars to drive. One of my least favourite cars to race. I do enjoy driving around in the street stock, but I do not like racing it. The racing in these is usually pretty hard. It's often just very single file and a lot of bump and run type stuff, which I'm not aggressive enough when it comes to that sort of thing. We're just running the iRacing supplied Pevely setup for this car. It's going to be the same for all the cars. I'll just be running either baseline setups or the I-55 specific setups that iRacing provides for the cars. For those that wonder about that stuff. So again, in these cars, it looks like you can go a little quicker by running that lower line around the bottom. Again, the track state, it's pretty heavy at the minute. We haven't got really any slick on the track anywhere. So it's probably not surprising, but you almost feel like these sort of cars would take some sort of advantage from the momentum and run a little better up higher, but even they seem to grip up and go well on the bottom. Sort of run a middle groove there and went pretty well. Slowly building up our speed. And really, I probably don't even need to have, I'll probably have it turned off. Yeah, Delta for this sort of video. So I might just turn that off now. Try and run a little bit higher. Again, it's just not very fast. You can see a bit of a slick patch forming there on the entry to turn 1. I wonder whether or not you can hit this gap in the fence here where the... I don't know if any of you guys remember, but I-55 on World of Outlaws 2002, it was like the death thing to do at this track was just catch that your right rear tyre on the gap in the fence here on the back stretch. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Doesn't look like it's a big issue in this. It looks like the Armco barrier there probably would prevent that from happening. Anyway, I think that's probably enough here in the street stock. We've done enough laps, had a bit of a feel for it, a bit of a look. We'll go ahead and check out the replay, and then we'll come back, and the next car we'll have a look at here will be the UMP Modified. I'm looking forward to that. Don't go anywhere. Okay, let's head out on track in the UMP Modified. I love this car. I do love the UMP Modified. Oh boy, look at the slick line forming here. So we've kept the time of day still at that midday, but we moved the track state up to 30%, and that is already looking quite slick through the whole middle of the track at 30%. It's got me nervous about some of these cars I've got coming up on the low track state, especially when I don't drive them a lot. The bottom groove has still got a fair bit of juice in it. I do love these cars. And this is where... Oh wow, so much grip on the bottom. This is where the video starts to get more entertaining for me, because we start to get these cars that you really got to drive. And this is where I start to really get a feel for whether or not these tracks feel like they're going to race well or not. And of course, it's a little hard to tell here whether or not the two lines that I'm running, the high line and the low line, how they compare for speed and things like that. But you can already see when you got two lines to work with like this, that a track like this can race so well. That bottom is, it's funny, like in the Legend particularly, the bottom really felt like it wouldn't be that good because it felt too flat. Like, you couldn't really run down. They didn't feel like you could run down there, but now you kind of get used to the idea of in the bigger cars that you can run around the bottom and you're almost catching the end of the very bottom lip of that banking with the right rear. And all of a sudden it makes sense. Like, you can see how that bottom line comes in and actually would work, you know? And this is just a heap of fun right here. I always can tell when something's going to be good in these videos when I get to a point where I'm like, alright, I need to check how long I've been recording this car for, because otherwise I could just keep on doing it all day. And I actually could just sit here and drive this car around this track in this track state for an hour, I reckon. And anyone who knows me knows how much I hate just doing practice and things like that. Like, I don't do practice because I get bored easily with doing laps by myself. But this is just fun. It's just fun. Oh, we finally got there. We finally got the right rear end of the fence. And that might just about do it, I think, before I get too carried away and lose track of time. We'll peel off here on the infield. We're going to come back next and do the Midget, so that'll be interesting too. But we'll check out the replay here of the UMP first. Okay, midgets. Oh boy. Ben. Go. I'm excited and nervous about the midgets all at once here. We bumped up the track state to, I think it was 50%. And we're now in the afternoon. Now, the reason why I'm excited and nervous all at once is that the midgets, when I've seen them race here at I-55 in the past, so they'll normally run here on the card the same weekend as the Outlaws, the racing is insanely good. Like, insanely good. So I'm hopeful that we're going to get a bit of that vibe out of the midgets at this track and be able to race the midgets at this track like that in real life and have some fantastic racing. Why I'm a little bit nervous is that I'm just not sure that the midget's built for that on iRacing at the minute. The last few times that I've actually raced it, so it didn't really matter what the track did. You just found yourself doing this and just locking it down on the bottom, and that was the fastest way. So you didn't get that really good racing. Obviously, for the sake of a video like this, that's not an issue, and I can just let it rip and do whatever I want. But I hope that the racing in these is actually really good around this track, because the quality of the racing, I mean, let's be real, the quality of midget racing in America on just about any track is insanely good. I don't know that I've ever seen a bad USAC race or anything like that before, but the racing on a track like this in these cars is just sensational. And given that I haven't driven them a whole lot lately, really, in fact, I haven't driven a lot of dirt at all lately, as you guys would know. There hasn't been much of it up on the channel. I feel like I've got a feel for this pretty quickly right here. I feel very comfortable, even though the track is quite slick. Oh, no, and as I say that, we've launched it. Oh, we've gone over the fence. All right, well, that's the midget. I will say that it was a lot of fun, though. And we'll go back and check the replay. I'll try and catch that crash here in the replay as well, because that was a big-time launch. But we're going to come back next in an even more skittish car, more open-wheel stuff, and that's the Wingless Sprintcar. So we'll see what that's like. I know you guys love it. We'll be back for that next. Alright, here we go. Wingless Sprintcar. 410 Wingless Sprintcar. Didn't even go for the little one. I went for the big banger. Straight to the big 410. We are now at 70% track state. And this is late afternoon, apparently. This looks more like sunset to me. We will see. Oh my goodness. The Pevely iRacing setup on this car as well, same as all the others so far. We've just been using that either baseline or the Pevely specific setup if there is one for the cars. Oh my god, I need to get my head in here. I'm a little bothered that I crashed the Midget because I normally reserve my crash in these videos for this car. I've got no excuse at the minute. I have actually done a couple of races in this car lately. Just always takes me a hot minute to get myself figured out. Obviously through the slick is not the fastest way, but a bit safer than going up in this part of the track. Almost got too tight into the fence. Yes. Yes. Great cars to drive, extremely difficult, but they are great and very rewarding when you get it right. And it's always good racing in these if you can find a good bunch of people to drive with, but that is pretty hard to do in these cars because of how difficult they are to drive. I'll risk it all here in a second and head back up to the top. Oh. Hang on to it. Oh, big screen freeze right there. I've been getting those ever since the last Windows 10 update. Very annoying. There we go. That was a better run. Finally got some momentum up. Oh, don't catch that wall like I did in the Midget. That was so close. All right, let's quit while we're ahead. We'll roll it back into the pits, and then next we're going to come back with the big block modifier. I'm going to ramp the track state right up. We'll have a few laps in the big block. The big block modifiers are next. Kept that late afternoon time of day, which is really basically night. And I've ramped this track state all the way up 90%, 95%, something like that. 90%, I think it was. We've already hit the fence. Oh, how's the terminal understeer? When I think of like races with a really high track state, I usually think of these. I don't know how many times I've watched them race in the Super Dirt Car Series, and they're just full rubber down, like black top, slick racetracks, and they're just searching around the track looking for some sort of grip, you know. It'll take me a minute here, and once I figure out how to drive them again, we'll be in business. I'll tell you what, the wider that the track gets here with the slick groove, the tighter it gets coming up off the corner. If anything, the front and backstretch walls almost come in, like they, and you can kind of see it at the end of the straights too, where they taper back out. It's probably got something to do with the huge banking, but it's like they narrow up, the walls narrow up right at the corner exit. Right when you're trying to run wide off the corner, the fence comes to you. I still absolutely adore the modifieds on iRacing. They're just fantastic cars. And these things tend to put on pretty good racing at any track, really, but I much prefer them on the bigger tracks, the faster sort of circuits. I don't know that they're really as well suited to the smaller tracks. I'm even finding it here, like, there isn't much flow like I've been experiencing since we got in the UMP Modified, and it's probably largely to do with the track state. I think if we were on a similar track state to what we had in the UMP, oh boy. If we're in a similar track state to what we had in the UMP, that this car would probably feel pretty similar, in that it would have a couple of grooves and the racing would be good, but when it's fully slicked out like this car doesn't feel like it's got a whole lot of flow to it. The driver's probably not very good either. Having the walls kind of taper the way that they do, like I was talking about, like where it narrows up on the corner exit, kind of makes the high one end, low the other end feel natural. Just drive it straight through the slick. These cars are better at that than most. You can kind of get away with driving through a slick line in these cars a little bit. I'll be interested to come back and try these again at some other point with a better track condition and see what they're like, because I feel like that's probably part of the problem here. But they're out of all of them so far, the big block has felt the worst on this track. So we'll see. Maybe it's something to do with that track state though. All right, we'll take a look at the replay. Then when we come back, it's NASCAR time. Okay, let's do this NASCARs. You guys love it when I include the NASCARs. You hate it when I exclude them. So they're a staple now, these videos. We always include NASCAR in these videos. But I think last time we did a video... Last time we had one of these dirt videos come out was Bristol. So we used the Cup car for that. In the videos prior to that, I used this, which is the Camping World truck. I've decided to go back to using the truck in this video, and it'll probably be on a case-by-case basis. Like, typically, I only ever would include these on tracks where they actually get raced in real life. I don't see I-55 getting used for a NASCAR race anytime soon. But I decided to use the truck, not the Cup car, because, well, really, the only real reason initially is that I've never tried the new Cup car, the Gen 7 or whatever it is Cup car, the next gen one, on dirt before. And I didn't really want my first time trying the car on dirt to be in one of these videos, so I've gone back to the truck for this one. We'll see what it's like. Trying to figure out... I feel like third gear around here because it's a shorter track is the way to go. This is the Bristol dirt setup. I had the choice between that or Eldora. They're the only two in iRacing that they provide. And obviously both of those tracks are quite a bit faster than this, so we'll go with third gear, I think. Back to 50% track state as well, and we're now sunset. Apparently this is sunset. Looks like just straight up nighttime to me, but I think maybe they've got their calculations wrong for their time of day settings for this track, because late afternoon felt like sunset. Sunset just feels like night. But doesn't really matter. We'll see what happens when we choose night for the next one. There we go. We're starting to get a bit of a hang of this now. These cars are just difficult to drive on, well, I should say trucks. Are just difficult to drive on dirt oval. I don't have much grip. But once you get them figured out and you start to get a bit of a rhythm, they are good fun. I really enjoy the truck. I particularly enjoyed the truck racing on dirt ovals. Eldora trucks at Eldora is one of my favourite combinations. I have not yet had the privilege of doing trucks at Knoxville, but I'm looking forward to doing that too. Actually, there's probably a Knoxville setup for this as well. I haven't looked. I didn't notice it when I looked at the setups. It would probably be no good for this track either, because it, again, is a bigger track, much faster. Let's see if I can move around at all. It's very difficult. A lot of wheel work. Because I don't like changing the it's not the steering offset, what's it called? The whatever it is. Changes your degrees of rotation on your wheel. We end up doing this whole driving the bus thing where you've got over 360 degrees of wheel into it, opposite lock. That's straight, that's 90, 180. 180 degrees of rotation coming onto the straight. 360, almost a full 360 to catch that slide right there on the wheel. So you're doing a lot of work on the wheel. That's 360 as well. Over 360, full lock. 900 degrees of rotation. I got to the lock stops on that. It's not the fastest way to be doing it, that's for sure. Whoop, bump the wall. I'll tell you what though, these are just fun. I love doing laps in these on dirt tracks. We really should see more of it in real life. I'd love to see just a full dirt schedule for the trucks. That'd be excellent. But anyway, we've done more than enough laps. I lost track of time on that one. Again, that's what happens when I'm having too much fun. We'll check out the replay, and then we're going to come back. I forgot about him, so I'll add him in next, and that's going to be to do the Pro 2 truck. We'll come back and do the Pro 2 truck, guys, right after this. Okay. There, that button. That's my upshift button. All right. So the Pro 2 truck, one of the best vehicles on iRacing. There is no oval setup for these. So we're just using baseline. I bumped the track state back up to 75% for this because I think that a higher track state probably works better with these. And we're still sunset, although, like I mentioned, it just looks like nighttime to me. I don't always include these in these preview videos because, again, they're not really an oval vehicle, but in the past we've seen them run on like a hybrid oval combination where they'll do part of an oval track like this and then duck onto the infield and do some jumps and a few other bits, particularly at some of the bigger tracks. I think they ran them at Charlotte, amongst a few others. So I don't always include them, but whenever I don't put them in, you guys usually let me know in the comments and say that I should. So we'll rip a few laps right here and get a bit of a feel for it, because why not? The argument can be made that any car on iRacing is a dirt car if you put it on dirt, so but at least these are designed for off-road, so there's some relevance to them. And I mean, they're Pro 2 trucks. They're just about as good as any other truck, any other car on the service. You can race them on anything. And they actually do put on pretty good racing on ovals. We've done 1 or 2 races in these things on ovals before. You can probably find some of them on the channel. I know I did a good one at Lernerville not that long ago, actually. It was quite fun. So, they are pretty good fun to race on the oval tracks. We just keep thumping the wall everywhere, though. I think that part of the problem for me with that is because of the height, like they're so high up off the ground, I lose track of how close I am to the wall. Much closer to it than I think I am because of how much higher I am up off the ground. And we are dragging the tail on the fence basically every time around on the top. Slide jump. Also, because it's a bit of a shorter track, we're only using second gear here. Although the alarm is going off, it doesn't like it. Probably blow it up in a minute. So you'd probably have to build a little bit more of an appropriate setup for it. There you go. That's the Pro 2 truck, you guys. Trying to keep you all happy. Make sure we include all the things you want to see in these videos. And that's a Pro 2 truck. So next we've got the 2 big ones left, and that's the late models and the sprint cars. We're going to do late models next. Looking forward to those around here as well. So don't go anywhere. Okay, super late model. I love me some super late model racing. I actually like the pro late models a lot too, but we're going to go super late model in this. Oh, that was a big freeze. On the Pevely setup provided by iRacing again. And I moved the track state back to 35%. My God, they're so twitchy. Give me a minute. Whoa. I haven't driven the late models in a while. I think I'm just not driving it hard enough. There we go. My goodness. Holy fast. Jesus. I think I'm getting old. My reflexes can't keep up with it. And for the first time, I'm actually getting agitated with the mirror, the virtual mirror. I normally don't even notice that it's there, to be honest. But, But like I talked about at the top of the video with the high banking of this track, that's actually impeding some of my vision. They're coming up off the corner. And when I look up there to see where I'm going, I'm looking at where I've been, not the other way around. Oh. Tell you what, I'm having a moment with this car. There we go. Trying to smooth it down a little bit. Sawing away at the wheel is never quick. Oh, got the wall. Wow. Just wow. So much grip. Alright. I'll tell you what. I still don't think I've figured out this car, but they go like a blur. Very, very tough. Very, very tough around here, but it was still good fun. And I don't know how you go racing a late model around here. It's not a sort of track that I think of for late model racing, but still, pretty hard work, I think, if nothing else. Anyway, we'll go park this one up, and then we'll come back and have a run in the sprint car. Okay, 410 sprint car, Pevely setup, iRacing setup, and got the track state down to 15%. I wanted to be able to absolutely let rip here for a few laps. So let's see what we got, see what it's like. Oh man, I just love sprint cars. I love it. It's so fast. I got scared away from the wall there in 3 and 4. That's better. Nice smooth line. Slide job. I'll tell you what, I think racing here in these cars will be very difficult. Like, it'll be hard to pass. It's going to be so quick. And the only way people are going to start slowing down is when it gets slipped to the fence. And then it's just going to be dangerous. It's going to be a hard track to race on, but my God, is it fun. It's so fast. It is just absolutely beautiful there in 3 and 4. I'm not quite holding it straight enough down here in 1 and 2. That was a bit better. In 3 and 4, it just drives itself around the corner. Oh, that's mint. That is so good. All right, let's check out a little replay here of the car, and then I'll come back after that and just give my thoughts about the track and a little bit of a summary, I guess. So we'll check out the replay here for a few laps first. Don't go anywhere. Alright guys, so I guess just to wrap things up here with some of my thoughts. So for me, this is probably one of the more hotly anticipated tracks here to come to iRacing. I mentioned it at the top of the video, but I-55 is one of my favourite tracks to watch racing at. I-55, I mean, I'm a Sheldon Hordenschild fan, but irrespective of that, the I-55 is one of my favourite events on the calendar, and I love watching the racing here. I think that the racing that is put on this track is sensational, and I just hope that we can get some of that same quality of racing here into the sim. Obviously it'd be difficult at times. Some cars will suit better than others, some drivers will manage better than others, but if you can get two grooves running around this track in the right car, I think that the racing here can be as good as any other track on the sim. I just hope that we see some of that. I think some cars, like I said, will suit better than others. I think some of them will struggle. It feels like a really narrow track, and it's probably got something to do with the fact that there's an inside and outside wall as well. It's not a huge track either lengthwise, but kind of races like a bigger track. I think it just will remain to be seen. I worry that it will get pretty tight on the straights, and with nowhere to go much between the walls, it might end up causing some carnage, but fingers crossed that's not the case, and racing here can actually be really good. I found it a little bit more polarizing in some cars than others. Typically, I'll sort of like every car, and I'll like some a little bit more. I mean, I didn't find the big blocks to be very good, but again, I wonder if that's got something to do with the track state. Whereas some others, like the UMP Modified, for example, was probably my favorite. That thing was so fun to drive. And the 410 Sprint Car, I think, is the other. The Sprint Cars and the UMPs were the two I found the most enjoyable. The Midget was good till we shunted it. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. I hopefully get the chance to come out here and do some racing at this track and get to experience it in race conditions in a few different cars over time. I don't do as much dirt racing as I used to do, but hopefully I still get the chance to jump in here. But guys, I'd love to get your thoughts about it. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this track, what you think about it in real life and in the sim, your impressions, that sort of stuff. I'd love to hear from you about it. But guys, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're still here at the end, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Hobbo88. Twitch.tv/Hobbo88 if you want to check out my live streams. And there is also a Discord link in the description below to the Discord channel. We got a whole heap of people in there. It's a cool, so come be a part of it if you want to. But that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next one.